It is the 19th day of May 2014, just 226 days remaining till the end of the year. Time really flies, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Well, we hope you had a great weekend. We're here to take you through the day's biggest news events with the help of our sign language interpreter this evening, Naresha Owiti.
Good evening and welcome to KTN Prime.
Now, on paper, it belongs to all Kenyans, both individually and communally. But in reality, it is one of the most glaring measures of inequality in Kenya.
We're talking about land, one of the most valuable assets any Kenyan would ever hope to possess. For the last several days, the Cabinet Secretary, Charity Ngilu, has been rummaging through the messy registry at the Aldi House, and now she says the cleanup is complete. Or is it?
Well, that is the question. And tonight, we've lined up for you comprehensive coverage of this thorny issue that is actually often a matter of life and death. In a short while, we'll be crossing live to our conversation studio, where Linda Ogutu is all set up with a panel to help us break down this issue.
Now, we shall also be crossing live to the coast, where our senior reporter, Ferdinand Omondi, has harrowing tales of families who are yet to find land they can truly call their own. Remember, our hashtag on Twitter is Troubled Land. But first, let's start with the day's top stories.
Indeed, and we start with the Anglo leasing ghosts that have now come back to haunt top officials in government.
That's right. The Attorney General, Professor Githu Muigai, now says he should not be blamed for the controversial payments that have put him at loggerheads with lawyers in the country.
KTN's Asha Mwilu begins our news coverage from the State Law Office.
Accused of playing politics with the rule of law and ultimately costing Kenya the Anglo leasing case, a beleaguered Githu Muigai was on a warpath, trying to clear his name.
The man you see in front of you is the mortician. The patient died on the operating table a long time ago. The patient died on the operating table a long time ago. Githu Muigai is a mortician. If you think the patient should have lived, ask the surgeons.
The embattled Attorney General says he won't go down for a case he inherited from his predecessors. But the Law Society of Kenya argues that Muigai was in office when the Kenyan case took a plunge. LSK has gone ahead to petition Parliament to start the process of removing the AG from office over the Anglo leasing payments.
So how can he say that he is a mortician? No, he was a surgeon in this particular case. He's the one actually who was in charge when they entered into an agreement to pay certain amounts of money.
To this day, the people who signed the contract have never been prosecuted. How then were we to prove corruption?
There's no other reason at all why we are paying now other than the fact that the Attorney General failed to defend that suit. That is why we are paying. And that is why we're saying, as a professional body, and we have seen where the negligence has been, we must now point out that this is a person who is culpable. And in this case, it is the current Attorney General.
While Muigai says his team defended the case the best that they could, the president's sentiments last Friday has also left the State Law Office under the spotlight.
The pressure that I am putting, especially on the State Law Office, is that they must up their game. We cannot afford to lose any more cases.
The work of the State Law Office is not to tell somebody to do something. It is to advise them. We advise. Then the client does what they want.
All we need you to do, Mr. President, is avoid the legal opinion which you have been given by the Attorney General. You have connections all over. Talk to the British the Kenyan embassy in Britain. Ask them, get an independent lawyer to go and look at that file and give an opinion as to whether or not we can appeal. We still have an opportunity to appeal.
As a scandal shrouded in mystery for years now plays out in the public gallery, Kenya is still soon expected to pay up 1.5 billion shillings to the owners of the dubious Anglo leasing contracts. That's if the payment has not already been made. Asha Mwilu, KTN, Nairobi.
Well, related to that, the Law Society of Kenya has now written to the Law Society of England to investigate whether the Anglo leasing ruling against Kenya did involve any conspiracy with the judge in question. You know what that means? We have definitely not seen the end of this saga. Well, continuing on, in Kitengela, we have a startling update of that story of mass graves that we told you about on Saturday. Well, today it emerged that there were at least 7 bodies in the grave that are now linked with a possible killing syndicate in the area. Ian Wafula tells us more.
Business within these parts of Kitengela was standstill, and as you can see, the motorbike operators opted to spend their time to witness the exhumation process. They would not be deterred even by the stench. For close to 4 hours, the government's chief pathologist and his team dug slowly around the bodies, carefully not to tamper with any evidence. 6 bodies were exhumed from one location, a 7th one retrieved a few meters away.
We lay the bodies, all of them, on the table. Then you look at the body inch by inch to find out any injuries. Because remember, these are people who are possibly murdered, because there's no way you can die and then you are dumped in a mass grave. People can be killed by blunt objects, people can be shot, but those are we do them when you're doing the postmortem.
The curious onlookers were not short of speculation. However, the county commissioner is claiming that the deaths could have been as a result of land disputes. Leaders present condemned the killings, urging the government to enhance security within the area.
The police station has an OCS, it has other officers, and we understand quite a lot of people have been reporting that their relatives are missing. Others have really, I understand, like one Sunday, some people are beaten and they were taken to the police station.
Even as investigations entered a 3rd day, the police are yet to receive any reports of missing persons. The bodies were ferried to Nairobi's city mortuary. As police continue with investigations into the crime, the chief government pathologist and his team have begun DNA testing to establish the identities of the bodies. Ian Wafula, KTN.
Some news now that has been trickling in Mandera. Authorities say at least 10 people are feared to have been killed in 3 bandit attacks in the county. According to the Inspector General of Police, 3 people have been confirmed dead, while 7 remain unaccounted for. 3 other people were seriously injured in the separate attacks. In the first incident, clashes erupted at Takaba Division, leading to the death of 3 people. Separately, armed bandits ambushed a security meeting, spraying 1 vehicle with bullets. In the 3rd incident, bandits stopped 4 pickups transporting Miraa from Meru to Mandera. They set 1 of the vehicles on fire and fled with 2 vehicles towards Somalia. The driver of the 4th vehicle managed to escape from the attackers. Now, it's time to talk about that very motive lands issue. And as we promised you earlier, Linda Ogutu is in our conversation studio. Very good evening to you, Linda. She is with a panel of land experts ready to delve into this issue.
Indeed, Wilson, thank you very much. You're going very big on the land issue tonight. And of course, for the purposes of this discussion, we will be speaking shortly to the Cabinet Secretary Lands, that is Charity Ngilu. I have here with me Odenda Lumumba from Kenya Land Alliance. And for the purpose of this discussion, we had invited Ibrahim Mwadhane and Mwenda Makadhimo, both from Land Development Governance Institute. We're still waiting for the 2 gentlemen to get here. And of course, we will see how this discussion goes. But for now, we understand that services at the Lands Ministry resumed today after the conclusion of an audit ordered by Cabinet Secretary Charity Ngilu. The 10-day audit led to the closure of lands offices to the public. Now, according to information from the Cabinet Secretary, 1.32 million misplaced files have been retrieved. Let's get details of that story from KTN's Rita Tinina.
After a 10-day closure to pave way for an audit, Athi House reopened its doors to the public, and it was not business as usual. Members of the public were served in these tents as the ministry moves to introduce an open plan office setting.
What we do not want is to have people running up into offices and doing some business in the offices. All businesses will be done in the open floor kind of work.
During the 10-day audit, the ministry says over 1 million files that were classified as missing were recovered. The changes in the central registry are evident. From the unlabeled, disorganized files, now there is order in the registry.
Put in a system where at least we can know who takes a file out of a rack and at least be able to track that file.
The ministry is promising that it will now take a much shorter time to be served at Athi House.
Stamp duty has been taking up to 4 days. Now it will take only 1 day. Transfer has been taking 9 days. Now it will take up to only 2 days. Valuation was taking 20 days. It will now take only 4 days. So the changes that we have made here will make it much easier for people to access business.
To some, the organization is bearing fruit.
Since January, I've been chasing this discharge for the last over 5 months, but luckily today I got it.
I had a file, I looked for it in 2012, and I've been looking for it. I searched for it for all these years. Interestingly, after this reorganization, my file has been found this morning.
Hizi imepangwa, nitajua nikijaza fomu ya search, nikiambia we ngoja siku moja au siku mbili, haya nashukuru, naweza kungoja.
Things are going to change at the Land's office because the minister is here, and I have talked to her one-on-one, and she has promised me that things are going to change here because this office has been very reluctant.
But despite the optimism, not everyone is supporting the changes at Athi House. The Kenya Land Alliance says the Cabinet Secretary is overstepping her mandate.
The National Land Commission should be allowed to execute the land governance mandate and all its functions as stipulated in the National Constitution.
Many of those who have been making endless trips to Athi House are hoping that the organized shelves will translate to better services as the ministry opens what it terms as a new chapter in service delivery. Rita Tinina, KTN, Athi House.
Lots of sentiments there on the closure of the Ministry of Lands and, of course, the developments that we have seen today. Let's bring in Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Charity Ngelu. She's joining us on phone. Waziri, thank you so much for joining us on KTN Prime. Waziri, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Waziri, thank you so much for joining us on KTN Prime. You have been quite busy in the last couple of days, and of course you're looking at the audit and your statement today. What has this achieved, and essentially where do we go from here?
Let me say that the first great success that we have made out of our registry was just to reorganize the registry and to ensure that we can tell where files are, because over 1.3 million titles have all been misplaced, have been misplaced, put in the wrong place, and therefore whenever people sought for service, they could not get it. In the last 10 days, we have been able to retrieve as many of these as possible. We have been able to put them in the right place, and therefore we are very clear that services are going to be certainly improved, faster, more efficient, and also more professional. And talking to members of staff, they told me this is not something they liked very much. They really would have liked to see a more organized registry.
Waziri, so where essentially do we go from here?
Where we go from here, since now we have been able to key in to know what files we have, we will now start the digitization process of the ministry.
Waziri, stay with me because there is an interesting story that is being done by KTN's Ferdinand Omonde. He is our reporter at the coastal region. There are interesting views from residents there with regard to land. Kindly, if you don't mind, stay with us, because after we run that story, I would like you to speak to Ferdinand Omonde, because then he will be able to raise some of those issues that residents there have. You're watching KTN Prime. Let's continue with this discussion on land. Of course, in studio, I am joined by Odenda Lumumba from Kenya Land Alliance. Alliance. Thank you for joining us as well on KTN Prime. What do you think of the audit at the Ministry of Lands today?
I think we have not had an audit. We have had the first step of dusting the files, and this is being done not on any sustainable manner. We must remember that this is not the first time we have been shown files being unearthed from hidden under desks or behind the shelves. We had this during 2012 by the former Permanent Secretary, Minister of Lands. Now we have a Cabinet Secretary coming up to say they have unearthed now to 1.32 million files. I think for me that's the first step. The question really is about land governance. Land governance in the sense that what we must be really seeing is policies, processes, and institutional mechanisms that manage land, property, and natural resources. This is a role that squarely was removed from the executive, and the principal agent of the executive, the former Commission of Lands. Squarely, it is placed in the hands of the National Land Commission.
All right, hold on to that thought. I was speaking to Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Charity Ngilu. I'm hoping she's still with me. Waziri, are you still with me?
Yes, Linda, I'm with you.
Thank you for staying with me. I'm speaking to Odenda Lumumba from Kenya Land Alliance, and we have been looking at the audit that has taken place over the last 10 days. He says this has happened before. We have seen this previously. What is so different about this one?
Yes, Linda, that is true. I don't know whether it happened before. I do know that some files may have been found in certain offices, but I'm being told that this has actually never happened before. To at least retrieve all the files, refile them, put them in the right rack. It's the first time, I can tell you, and all these people have been there with me during these 10 days when we have had to clean up the registry. However, this is just a first step towards not only reorganizing the registries, but ensuring that we can capture all this information in a digital way. Indeed, we need to do this electronic documentation management system so that you can get information on land from wherever you are. And we have started. Some of the services that we are able now to give, people can download at least some of these forms that we have been having in the ministry, where people have been coming and collecting them physically. They can now download them from our website.
All right, Waziri, this is just the first step. How sustainable then is this?
This will have to be sustainable because we don't leave it at that. We have already procured 2 funds that are going to start digitization now.
Waziri, I apologize. I am having difficulty hearing you, understanding what you're saying. I am hoping my team can give you a call, and I'm hoping you can get a clear line than that so that our viewers can also get to understand what you're saying. I'm hoping my team can give her a call. Yes, they're giving you a call in just... Yes, they're giving you a call in just a few minutes. I'm hoping you can get a clear line because right now we are struggling to hear you, but thank you. Stay with us. Lumumba, you've had the Cabinet Secretary. Your thoughts on what she's just said?
I think we need to jog our minds. It is now over 1 year that with the donor assistance, we have been having a state of reorganizing those files. In the Nairobi Central Registry, we had the Swedish support to help do the registry. We have been doing the same in the Mombasa registry. We have been doing the same in Thika and Nakuru. Now, what the Waziri should be telling the nation is what progress have we made in these registries. And I think to say that this is the beginning, I think is being a bit economical with the truth. The other thing that I think we have also to be very careful about, and I think this should need to be understood, that for you to digitalize information on land, it requires a whole land information management system that basically will be able to digitalize what is on the file, but also to get the ground truthing. I think it's important to know that land has exchanged hands.
All right.
A file you have today might be telling us a story of an entity who died long ago and who shouldn't be on the register.
Hold on to
Is
that
that
thought.
information clear to the Kenyans?
But hold on to that thought. Let me cross all the way to the coastal region. And of course, the issue of land has been an emotive issue there. The stalemate between the National Lands Commission and of course the Cabinet Secretary has been witnessed in the last couple of days as well. Let's bring in Ferdinand Omondi to look at the issues that have been touching residents there. Ferdi.
Good evening, Linda. Well, this evening or lately in the coast region, the land matters have come up very strongly again. I mean, the matters of land in the coast region are well documented. It has the highest number of squatters in the country. Every county has a story to tell here. Operation, land grabbing and evictions, you name it. And before we go in deeper, let's just go to the county of Kilifi, where I sought a perspective from the extensive salt belt, where the squatters there feel they have their land taken away from them in a manner that is not right. Watch the story. A yard in Kanagoni area of Kilifi. She says she has lived here for over 2 decades but has never enjoyed peace of mind since 2001 when the provincial administration called a baraza and asked her and her neighbors to take a walk.
Alipokuja kuweka mkutano akatuambia kwamba hii sehemu sio yetu, kwa hivyo mwenyewe anahitaji.
Amid constant warnings and occasional threats, Patience says some locals chickened out and left, but she and her husband opted to stay back and fight. Court injunctions enabled them to hang on until 10 years later when the so-called genuine landowners struck again, this time allegedly evicting them with brute force.
Walilazimisha kung'oa mimea yetu na tinga, kufagilia kabisa.
The said landowner is a salt company. This area is a salt belt with at least 4 factories that produce most of the salt used in Kenya's homes. But their relationships with locals have always been frosty. According to a local civil rights organization, the bad blood dates back to the mid-80s when large-scale salt mining companies bought huge parcels of land in opaque deals with corrupt government officials, displacing local communities in the process.
Ni swala la asubuhi chifu anaingia na askari na ni utoke kwa sababu wao wamepewa kibali. Sisi kwa bahati mbaya au bahati nzuri tulikuwa hatujapata vibali ambapo hilo pia ni jukumu la serikali.
The apparent official land grabbing is said to extend to this day, where investors armed with controversial official documents still displace hundreds of families from arable land and convert them to commercial salt farms. This is an extensive farm over 1,000 acres, all harrowed up in readiness for salt farming. This massive piece of barren land was once occupied by hundreds of families until tractors came by and mowed down the homesteads and the livelihoods therein. And this, they say, was done without sufficient consultation or sufficient compensation. Kadzongumau is among those mourning their lost livelihoods. She bitterly complains that she was evicted from here with the help of the same government that she hoped would protect her.
Na tumefungwa, hata mimi tayari najua kwenda huko prison. Na sisi tukaona hali imekuwa ngumu, hatuna mahali pa kuweka watoto wetu. Ndio tukatoka kule, tukashuka huku barabarani huku. Saa hii Muhindi ametufuata huku anatupokonya hii mashamba yetu yote.
The biggest contention here is the displacement versus compensation debate. Some locals admit they received some money to move out, but Malindi Rights Forum maintains it was a scandalous ploy.
Baadhi ya wale waliofurushwa ilazimika wachukue bahasha ambazo zilikuwa zinahisiwa kwamba ndani zina pesa, kwa wameshikiwa bunduki. Sidani kama hilo ni swala zuri kwamba ulipofidia ikiwa umeshikiliwa bunduki.
The salt farm's extension is not just affecting the locals, it is also threatening the meager natural resources. This area is a water trap which locals depend on for domestic consumption and for their livestock. The wells do not bring out the cleanest water, but this is as good as it gets for them, with water vendors traveling as far as 10 kilometers away for the precious commodity. But the bulldozers are clearing land closer and closer to the wells amid fears that even these could be covered and turned into salt farms.
Na kwa nini serikali imetuchupa? Sisi wananchi ambao sisi ndio ambao tunakuza hiyo serikali imetuacha kabisa.
Most of the locals had long given up on getting justice from the courts or the government. The emergence of the National Lands Commission rejuvenated some hope, with the forum saying they saw tangible action after appeals to Chairman Mohamed Swazuri in December 2012.
Na ripoti sasa hivi imetoka. Masuala ni kwamba imejitokeza kwamba baadhi ya mashamba sio vile ambavyo yanatakana yawe.
However, this adjudication process is now under threat following the lockdown of the lands registry by Cabinet Secretary Charity Ngilu. Several opinion leaders have thrown their weight behind Swazuri in the supremacy battle, and the central government has come under fresh attack over land matters.
Kwamba watu hawana title deed. Na leo Charity Ngilu akiungwa mkono na Uhuru Kenyatta wanapigana na National Land Commission inaongozwa na ndugu yetu Mohamed Swazuri.
Tunakemea serikali ya Jubilee, tunamkemea waziri Charity Ngilu kwa kuingilia tume ya ardhi inayosimamiwa na ndugu yetu Mohamed Swazuri.
Peana nafasi National Land Commission ifanye kazi yake, kwa sababu sisi watu wa Mombasa tumedhulumika kihistoria kwa minajili mambo ya mashamba.
In Likoni area, thousands of squatters are still waiting for Ngilu to provide title deeds to about 940 acres of land, famously known as Waitiki land, which she promised them over 1 year ago that she would deliver within 1 month in office. While seeking election, the Jubilee administration promised to address the contentious land question once and for all.
They are focused on the problem of land and squatters in our country. We have the solution.
That solution is yet to come. But in Omondi, KTN, Marereni, Kilifi. Well, we have been engaging the Lands Cabinet Secretary, Charity Ngilu. We hope she is back online. Good evening, Madam. Now, you have listened to the coast leaders attacking you and the presidency there. They're saying that you are deliberately frustrating the Lands Commission and Swazuri with the sole intention of making sure the adjudication process doesn't take place. And they're saying this is the blessings of the president. What say you?
Yes. Yes, I want to say, Linda, that we are absolutely on course. We are prepared to give Kenyan title deeds. This is a promise that the Jubilee government made to Kenyans. And indeed, His Excellency the President has said that in the next 3 years, we are going to issue 3 million title deeds. We have made plans, and the National Titling Center at the Fadhili of Kenya is all ready, and we will start this work that we promised that we are going to do. This is the first step, just to ensure that we can at least know who owns land where, who might have been shortchanged by who, and therefore we are on course.
How can you say that you're
moving forward, Madam Ngilu, and the Lands Commission has taken you to court to seek interpretation on the mandate between you and NLC? What's going on?
Sorry, I want to say that again.
My question is,
how can you say that things are going well while the National Land Commission has taken you to court?
Well, that's all right, but work continues. For instance, that we have done so far, within the last 2 days, every Kenyan can see a journey of 1,000 miles begin with the first step. We have started this journey, and we are not turning back. Kenyans expect the government to give them service. And this is the service that we promise to give to Kenya.
All right, Madam.
All right, Madam Ngilu, because of time, I will let you go there and hand over to Linda. But Linda, perhaps maybe if you have more time, she can explain to the people of Likoni who she promised to give title deeds in the Waitiki land within 1 month in office. It's been 1 year and they're still waiting. Perhaps she can shed more light on that. But from Mombasa, I'm signing off. Good night. Linda.
Ferdinand Omondi, thank you so much for speaking to us and, of course, sharing the perspective from the coastal region, looking at the issues surrounding the residents there with regard to land. And, of course, I am seated here with Odenda Lumumba from Kenya Land Alliance. You've had this discussion between the CS and Ferdinand Omondi. Do you think the minister overstepped her mandate with regard to the Lands Commission?
I think it's very clear that the minister is usurping the land governance role from the National Land Commission. I think to tell us that the Jubilee has a program on titling, I think it requires a blueprint, clearly to delineate what this program is all about and also to show us the projects they are in. I think the whole idea of setting up the National Title Center is suspect. I think they went to the coast with 60,000 titles. Fiscally, they gave out 2,000 titles. 58 were supposed to be picked from district registries. To date, we don't know who picked those titles.
Exactly.
We know very clearly that 2,500 titles were returned when the Tana River people rejected them. We also know that 7,000 titles were returned from Kwale when people rejected them. The issue is, are these titles up to date? Are they titles of the dead? Are they titles of the living? Are they titles to those who have acquired land in the coast?
Hold on to that
irregularly or illegally?
I know. You're looking at the title deeds that were issued to the residents at the coast. Let me still engage the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Charity Ngilu. Madam, thank you for staying with KTN Prime. And of course, the big question that is being raised is when will the residents at the coast get their title deeds, and more specifically, the residents of Likoni?
As I said to you, Linda, we are now in the process of rolling out the bulk titling. We have put under one roof surveying, adjudication, and the registration. That means that work will be done much faster than has been done in the past. So I'm just saying that we are on course, and we cannot allow to be, derailed from our program and our activities because people want to derail this program that we are putting in place, as has happened before. And let me also say to you, Linda, we have so many people who have other agendas, not necessarily to serve Kenyans. There have been those people who have been serving themselves. And I say the reason that, quite honestly, what has derailed and what has made work in the Ministry of Land extremely difficult are what they are calling these days Kenya Association of Land Grabbers and Cartels.
All right.
And we have got to just tell them, please, let's give Kenyans a chance and also on land.
Waziri, because of time, I'm sorry I have to cut you short, but we thank you so much for joining us on KTN Prime, for being part of this discussion to our viewers. We apologize for the sound quality in that phone link. Of course, you have a problem with the network issues. Kindly do bear with us as we try and sort it out. Here in studio, I'm still with Odenda Lumumba. Is this the beginning of efficiency at the Ministry of Lands? Finally, before we wind up.
I think one would not really clearly say it's the beginning of efficiency. We haven't seen those who have been hiding title deeds arrested. Are they still in the ministry? We have not seen the restructuring. I don't think that you can easily rearrange the ministry by playing musical chairs with the same staff that have been hiding files. Where are these staffs? What they have done is criminal, and these guys will be prosecuted. We haven't seen them lined up in any court of law. And definitely that's not how you make the difference. Really, the issue is about what information goes in a computer. A computer, you can key in anything, and what you get at the end is the garbage you keyed in. So unless we get to clear up the recordation of land, clearly getting the certainty of what is happening, we are not going to get right.
All right. Since
the new constitution, we should have seen all foreigners that own leases more than 999 reduced to 99 years. All those who have freeholds reduced. Okay. Within that spell, I need to mention that we have a case which we are very suspicious, and we need clarity from the minister.
Odenda?
Who has bought or who has taken over Delemea's farm in Naivasha.
All right, I'm sorry, because of time we have to end it at that. Odenda Lumumba from Kenya Land Alliance, thank you so much for joining us on KTN Prime and for sharing your perspective. This has been discussion on the issue of land in the country. Our hashtag is troubled land. Let us know what you think about the issue of land in the country. I've been speaking to the Cabinet Secretary Charity Ngilu as well. Let us know your opinion. And of course, right now I hand you over to Wilson Buru to go on with the rest of the stories making headlines tonight. Wilson.
Thank you very much, Linda, for that very incisive discussion on this land debate. Remember, as she said, the conversation continues on Twitter. Our hashtag is troubled land. Welcome back. You're watching KTN Prime.
Well, if you live in Nairobi, you may have to brace yourself for yet another university student strike tomorrow, and this time it's about school fees.
Absolutely. Officials of the other universities in the country want the Ministry of Education to rescind its decision to increase university fees.
We are advising fellow Kenyans to join students all over the Republic on this day of nationwide mass action to have the government review the university fees downwards. Keep your vehicles off the roads that will be used by students to avoid criminals vandalizing vehicles and masquerading as students.
Fees must be reduced, help must be increased, and we want to make this very clear. Our voice tomorrow shall be loud and clear.
My name is Boni Tunya. This is Business. Now, feeling the heat of travel advisories, Kenya tourism sector is hoping that domestic tourists will help fill the gap. But do Kenyans have the time or the money to sample their own tourist products? Here's KTN's Charles Gitonga with a look in the streets of Nairobi.
Kenya hii hakuna pahali sisi tunaenda. Waende, watalii wetu watakuwa hapa tu. Tutasaidiana hapa, watu watembee.
If you look at the funds, like the car we have here, we stop it because of it, there's no business.
This is the dilemma Kenya's fragile tourism industry finds itself in. While the government is convinced that solutions are about to the current crisis, the pinch in the industry is felt far and wide. With key traditional source markets keen on protecting their citizens from possible terror attacks, domestic tourism remains a tall order for many Kenyans.
As Kenyans, we should support the cause because it is us who feel the pitch. We understand.
The cost of going there is still inhibitive. We can't be able to go there because of the way the life has gone up.
With the advisories and evacuations firmly in place, industry players are already projecting billions of shillings in losses, mainly due to cancellation. So far, figures point at over 1,700 tourists from the United Kingdom having left Kenya's tourism heaven.
Normally, we would find our office full of Wazungus by now, inquiring about the migration. But now, as you see, the offices, they are empty.
The net effect of these challenges remains concerted effort between industry players and the national government to woo Kenyans to sample their own tourism products through incentives and discounts.
If the concerned stakeholders give incentives for the domestic tourism, that will try to bridge the gap a little bit.
Thousands of tourists continue to flee the country following travel advisories issued by their home governments. With the Ministry of Tourism still firm at attracting 2 million tourists by the end of the year, the big question is whether we Kenyans can still salvage the already shaken industry. Charles Gitonga, KTN, Business.
Ahead of its planned revival in the next financial year, employees and suppliers of troubled Kenya Meat Commission continue to camp at the facility waiting for their dues. Here's KTN's Philip Keitani with more.
These workers are a hungry and angry lot. Their employer, the Kenya Meat Commission, is yet to pay them their dues. 4 months now, they say. As a result, they have grounded their tools until their plight is addressed.
Hii tatizo ilianza wakati MC aliyokuwa mbeleni ilisemekana ametoweka na milioni 20. Kutoka wakati huo mpaka leo, wafanyikazi wamekuwa katika shida ya kulia hapa na pale.
On the other hand, we also find Abdi Mohammed, a livestock trader from Moyale County. He says the commission owes him more than 5 million shillings for animals delivered last year, and his weekly trips for Moyale has left him more in debt.
Hasara nimeenda zaidi milioni 2.
kwa sababu hakuna kazi mimi nafanya, ile ingine nakula na mimi nangoja hapa nini natumia kama gharama kila wakati.
The situation compounds the beleaguered state corporation that only years back showed perfect signs of life. Today is a pale shadow of its former self, riddled with debt and mismanagement.
Sasa kama iko serikali, haki ya wafanya kazi, kulima, angalia na huru ile Ruto. Sisi iko shida, mtoto anafukiza shule.
Government, however, says it has an ambitious plan to revitalize the corporation with over 700 million shillings already factored in the 2014-2015 financial year's budget to uplift it. Philip Keitan, KTN Business.
French telecom operator Orange has sold off its stake in Orange Uganda to Gambia-based Africell. Now, the move completes operators' review of its Ugandan operation that has been struggling of late. Here is KTN's Michael Karanja with that.
Paris-based Orange's exit from some of its African markets first came to the fore in March when a London-based online publication, TMT Finance, broke the news. And today, the French operator announced that it has sold its majority stake in Orange Uganda to Africell Holdings, which has operations in Gambia, Sierra Leone, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In a brief statement, France Telecom says this transaction marks a new step in Orange Group's asset portfolio optimization strategy, maintaining, however, that Africa remains a strategic priority. Closer home, however, no word has been given on when it plans to conclude a review of its Kenyan operation, Telecom Kenya, with the management maintaining that the outfit was here to stay.
Closing in business is not an option. We are not closing the company. It's clear. No any program to close this company. Telecom stay. Telecom is part of Kenya, and it will stay always to support the Kenyan and our subscribers and the customers.
Despite such assurance, the market has been awash with talk of the National Treasury having been duly notified of the intended exit. Suitors such as South Africa's MTN and Vietnam's Viettel have been noted to have showed interest in the outfit. Orange Uganda is the third largest telecom operator in Uganda and was formed in 2008. This transaction is subject to approval from the relevant authorities. Michael Karanja, KTN Business.
Record claim from the Westgate Mall attack did not deter trade insurance, which has more than doubled its profits for the year ending 2013. Here is Adelaide Changole with a look at those financial numbers.
The September 21st, 2013 terrorist attack at Westgate Shopping Mall remains one of the biggest attacks in recent times. And the same is said of the value of insurance paid out locally.
The total sum insured was about $100 million.
With a 2% exposure to the claim, ATI is gearing up to pay a record 131 million shillings to cover 3 claims from 3 different companies.
Yes, it's significant. I think it's the biggest loss we have ever paid.
Despite this, however, the agency managed to post a 144% jump in profit in 2013, rising from 52.6 million in 2012 to 128.5 million, attributed to an increase in transactions that has seen net premiums rise to 526 million shillings. The firm also undertook a cost-cutting drive, reducing expenses from 148% to 59% of net premiums.
We've almost made 400% increase because we are making a loss of 0.6 million in 2009, and now we're making a profit of 1.5 million.
Going forward, ATI wants to increase the number of partner states with a special focus on West Africa, where only Benin is signed up. The agency says it expects to sign Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Liberia, and Ivory Coast, in addition to Ethiopia and Mozambique, as it seeks to diversify its portfolio, spread its risk, and boost its capital.
We would want to absorb the accumulated deficit from the past first before starting and share dividends.
Adelaide Changole, KTN Business.
Time for the day's sports. I'm Nicholas Mudimba. Mark Mutai, the captain to the Kenya World Relays team, has expressed confidence that the team will make a mark at the inaugural championship set for the weekend in Bahamas. The Commonwealth champion was speaking at the sidelines of the luncheon hosted by the Team Safaricom in Kasarani.
Kenya will be sending a strong team to the first World Relays Championships in Bahamas. Kenyans will take part in the 4x1500 meters and 4x800 meters men and women's teams, as well as in the 4x200 meters and 4x400 meters men teams. The Kenyan squad has been in residential training camp at the Kasarani Stadium ahead of the Bahamas sprinting extravaganza. The athletes got a break from their rigorous training schedule to indulge at a luncheon organized by mobile service provider Safaricom, where team captain Mark Mutai laid bare their Bahamas ambitions.
Having the best athletes in the team, we expect cold plus standard setting.
Under coach Sami Rono, the Kenyan charges are expected to leave a mark in Bahamas.
Timu iko nzuri, tumetrain na vile unajua hii ni relay. So kila siku lazima tuwe na ile pattern handling.
Safaricom has pledged cash incentives for record sets as well as medal winners.
Any team that brings gold will award 1 million. If you bring home silver, we'll give you 600,000. And if you bring home a bronze, we'll give you 400,000 to encourage you to continue.
The Kenyan team is set to depart for Bahamas on Wednesday. Lynn Washira, KTN Sport.
Right, FC Leopards' new head coach Henrique Pieter de Jong has promised the Ngwe faithfuls a tiki-taka dance kind of flowing football. Leopards has seen its fortunes take a nosedive, but the club's chairman Alan Kasaville believes they have the main man to change their fortunes. Leopards unveiled the Dutchman to take over the reins of the club from James Nandwa, who was dismissed after a string of poor results that left the fans disillusioned this season. However, the Dutchman is asking for some time, insisting that the project will need a bit of time to get things moving north again. All eyes will be the new man and his deputy Juma Abdallah, who has been taking charge of the team since Nando's dismissal, to see whether the team's fortunes will change.
To the long-term solution of us achieving results, and also as a coaching end of the to fulfill that we have the entire coaching unit together.
It's not easy. It's a slow process. It's a process for the future, not for a month or 2 months, no, for a long period.
All the best to FC Leopards. Now, what began as a pastime activity 3 years ago has turned out to be a big investment for Zetech University College. The university began basketball and football just so the students could be kept busy. However, 3 years later, the university have scooped the football title in university games and has 3-year plan for both disciplines as they embark on qualifying for the top flight leagues in the country.
3 years ago, Zetech College decided to try out their luck in sports. Then it was just an avenue to pass time. However, when they bagged the inter-university title in 2011 and 2012, the university fraternity took note. And Zetech decided that it will not be business as usual. The university runs semi-professional basketball and soccer teams that participate in Kenya Basketball Federation Division 1 League, while their football counterparts are in Nairobi County League.
We've had challenges, but we thank God because these are young boys who have started training. We started in 3 years ago. This is our 3rd year in the league. One team was promoted.
Juggling academics and sports has not been easy. We caught up with both teams training in the evening, the only time when they are able to raise teams. The academic cycle affects them.
We also have a talent identification program that seeks to identify good players, either playing currently playing in other teams who have not been identified. And an addition of that now is students who have already been enrolled.
They may be playing in lower tier of the different leagues, but have cast their eyes on top flight leagues in 3 years' time. Hassan Juma, KTN Sports Today.
Last year's Coca-Cola National finalist JMJ Academy and Kisumu Lakers collected crucial points this past weekend as they put themselves back in contention for the provincial finals. Lakers were in fine form, winning 2 of the 3 matches as they joined Bondo combined boys at the summit of the Nyanza North Branch League. The SIOPO-led side had an easy time dismissing Siaya United 3-1 in the first match with 3 different goal scorers: John Mudavadi, Eric Ocheng and Asun Amoko on target. Christopher Nanen grabbed the consolation goal for the county boys. JMJ were ruthless with Nairobi East Branch.